Greetings and welcome. This is Ken. Look at me. I'm the Hulk. Looking at Ken's comics today. Thank you for joining me. I would like to talk about some stuff. First, I think we're going to get to some art. Hey, there it is. All right. Um, that was a picture of me dressed like the Hulk because you may or may not know this, but I like the Hulk. I am Ken. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate anyone that's tuning in, and thank you for watching if you're watching later on YouTube or Facebook. I'm going to do something a little different today. I'll show you some art and do some and some videos and stuff. But today I had an idea that I wanted to just talk about something um, because my opinions are so important. But I think something that inspires me is sharing uh, struggles or sharing problems or it's even just thoughts. And something that inspires me is when I see other people sharing their experiences. Um, and not that I think that I'm anybody on a pedestal that should be admired or looked to or have something drastically important to say, but I have stories, and everybody has stories, and I find that when people share their stories with me, I draw some inspiration from that, or even some comfort, just knowing that we're not alone and stuff. So today I have this topic: why I quit art. Uh, Clearly, the spoiler alert: I didn't quit entirely. Uh, as you may have known. Uh, it's going back a long time, though. There was a time that I wanted to quit art altogether, and I quit taking classes. Which, when I was younger, that was my whole like world. I was the art guy. I was the art. I took art all through school. Easily my favorite subject. And it was like my identity. All right. So I mean, in high school, I was a weird introverted kid, and art was where I lived. So fast forward from like my story about how I was 14 and inspired to do comics to high school, and I was a cocky little art guy. My art teacher was my favorite person on the planet. She was my inspiration. She was encouraging, supportive, and I admired everything about her. So I got to high school and taking art was great. I was like, this is it. This is fantastic. She was a younger teacher. She only taught the early art classes. So when it came time to take the next year, take some more advanced art classes, I had a different teacher, and that's where I'm going to get into this. Uh, before I get into that part, I just want to let everyone know that whatever you're going through, you're not alone or not as alone as you think you are. And sometimes when something pushes you one way, feels like it's pushing you away from something, it may be just putting you into place for something else. And that's what this story is about. So I got into second year art class and learning some different stuff. And art in high school is more general. So you're taking every couple of weeks, you're doing a totally different thing. You're doing sculpting or painting, or I had a whole week of calligraphy, which wasn't my jam. But that's art. That's learning art, and I think it's a very valuable because learning all this stuff gives you more tools in your toolbox. There's a lot of stuff I learned about shading with pastels that I use in my mind, at least when I'm shading with pencil, or even in Photoshop. The concept of mixing colors or blending colors or smoothing colors. So, learning art is incredibly valuable, even if it's something you're not going to use. Art class was my life. I mean, it was. I was an okay student, um, but I mean, if it wasn't for art, I wouldn't have wanted to go to school. So when I say that I quit taking art class, this is no small thing. And I know it's high school and it's a long time ago, but I don't think this has any bearing on the generations. I mean, this could be today, could be any time. So I loved art class. I needed art class. Uh, like I said, as much as anyone that know me in high school, I seemed like an introvert. I was incredibly extroverted. Most of what you saw, if you knew me then, was an act. You know, I shared my real self with very few people. Um, Art class was the one place I could be myself. I was home when I was in art in the art room. So I get to art class. I took art 1 and 2, and I loved it. I get to my sophomore year. I took art 3 and 4, and I was just about miserable. Um, I got my first B in art, and when I say that too, I know that sounds stupid because it's just a grade, but it started me thinking. It like shook me, and uh, it was powerful that I didn't understand what the teacher was going for. But it started something, and I did not enjoy the class as much because I was then trying to figure out how to get an A. Teacher and I weren't clicking, and wasn't just that I didn't like the class; it's that I didn't understand the teacher. I think looking back with the perspective that I have as an adult now, more of this was on me, but I was so young. I was a kid, and I didn't know how to relate to people in different ways. So anyway, this teacher was a totally different teaching style. Uh, so a lot of you that know me might know this teacher. So I don't want to trash anybody, but I just want to say that going to art, the more advanced art classes, I was I was not doing well for me anyway. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with what I was making. I wasn't happy with how it was going. I wasn't feeling good about it. So I get to the anyway. So a lot of things happened that year, and I could go into a million details, but for the purpose of keeping my video short, I got to the end of the year, and I figured out how to get an A. And what I figured out was this teacher needed a certain thing, and I figured I learned how to do what was required. You know, what I mean, like I think uh, I figured out how to compromise what I wanted to do and just give the teacher what he wanted so I could get the A. And I felt horrible. I mean, I felt terrible about it, and I never wanted to go to art class again because, of course, in my young idealistic mind, I was compromising. Right, wasn't just doing the assignment because I had been doing the assignments. I was good at following instructions, but I felt that this teacher had just had a certain thing, an aesthetic he was looking for, um, something that didn't work for me. But I did it anyway, and I got the A uh, because I mean, I was the art guy, and I had to get A's in art, or my world was over. So anyway, end of sophomore year, I decided, well, that's he was the only teacher that was teaching any more advanced art classes. If I wanted to keep taking art classes, I had to stay with this teacher who was essentially ruining my enjoyment of art. So I quit. At the end of the year, I decided I wasn't going to sign up for any more art classes, and I'd do something different. Uh, that was big. That was big for me. Now, I don't even know who told her, and I don't know how she found out because I didn't go crying to anybody about it. It was just a thing. It was like this. Well, this is the way of the world. I thought art was my channel, and that's the way it's got to be. Maybe it's not my channel. Maybe it's not where I belong. Well, my art teacher from the first year, who again I love so much, she got wind of this at some point, and she came to me and she said, "I you didn't sign up and she told me she knew I wasn't taking art classes the next year, and what was I going to do? And why was I leaving art? Why was I quitting art? What's that about? I mean, I she thought I had a potential, thought I had a future in it, and not continuing with art classes was certainly no way to progress for my junior and senior years of high school. Um, I told her the problem. Um, I said, "Look, just straight up, I don't feel that this is going to work for me. I'm not gonna want to take those classes with that teacher." So anyway, I'm a terrible storyteller, so I apologize. My train of thought goes zigs and zags. But back to my teacher, who reached out to me, and she found a graphic arts course um, at the what was then the Skills Center in Bay City. That was 3 hours a day, and she managed to sign me up for it. So the following year, instead of taking art classes, I took a graphic arts class at the Skills Center. Uh, had to hop on a bus, had to drive all the way across town, but half my day was spent in a graphic arts program, which was very different than just a physical arts program where you just paint for an hour and then you go to your next class. I mean, it was more intensive. It was more, and it was expanded to things I'd never thought about, things about printing and publishing and photography. The graphic arts course I took at the Skills Center in so many ways changed my life. I met people there that I'm friends with to this day. Um, it meant so much to me too that this teacher I really looked up to reached out to me because I wasn't it wasn't even her class. Like I wasn't like dropping her class. She wouldn't have been teaching me anyway. And yet somehow she had enough of an interest in me to reach out to me and say, "Look, you need to continue in art. You need to continue to learn. You need to continue to improve yourself because you could do this in the you could have a future in art," which is all I wanted. Um, my point, and I'm going to get to more because this changed everything. My whole life became something it wasn't on the course for. But I think that the reason I wanted to make this video and talk about this was because the wrong kind of teacher, and I don't necessarily mean to destroy a teacher's reputation. Like I don't want to talk about bad about this teacher now, but this teacher wasn't for me, and nothing about his style of teaching, and nothing about his approach to to art or mentorship or like it was a square peg in a round hole. We were not working together, and it pushed me away. And he pushed me away. And the right kind of teacher who understood that I needed something different, or that I needed some encouragement. The wrong kind of person can push you away, and the right kind of person can pull you in. And what I think I wanted to share was that that happened to me. That happened to me, and I don't know who I would be today without that teacher. That teacher changed the course of my art career and my learning, my life, the stuff I learned at the skill center in graphic arts was was valuable. Some of it wasn't. To be fair, it was a long time ago, so the things I learned were obsolete pretty quickly as soon as technology advanced. But it wasn't the point. Um, it made me feel incredibly important that a teacher took me under their wing like that. That a teacher reached out to me. Um, Fast forward again, then I got through the year. I'm gonna jump around because I took this graphic arts class. I loved it. I did really well in it. Um, I learned a lot, and I took a lot from it, and it was incredibly important to me. And the other thing that I got from it, besides all the learning uh, and the perspectives on art and how to create things and how to print things and how to make not how, what graphic arts taught me was how to turn my passion into something. I mean, whether I was making stationery or notebooks or signs or photography, we learned to print things on an old fashioned printing press or make pictures and develop them. It got me in the mindset of turning my art into something tangible, and that was important because that, other than drawing on a piece of paper, I didn't really know where I was going with it. Um, Besides making comics, and even then, I needed to learn how to make things that other people would want to buy or enjoy at least. So I got through this year, had a great time, and when I came back, I felt more than ready to go back to that same teacher's class. The first teacher that didn't work for me, the teacher I didn't really like that much. Uh, what I figured out was I can do anything. What I got from some of that was my potential is so much bigger than any one moment in time, and my future is so much bigger than any particular teacher or any particular experience. And I figured out that even that year I had that I didn't like art class was valuable, and I learned stuff about art. I learned stuff about myself, and I learned that I felt the confidence to take on anything that ever came my way again. And so after the graphic arts class, my junior year, I went back my senior year, and I took that, and anyway, I took that same teacher's class, and I did great. A little bit because I figured out how to play his game. I figured out um, I figured out how to get what I needed to get emotionally and creatively out of this class. And I figured out that art class didn't have to be the place where I expressed myself completely. Like I had, that's one piece of my life was that art class. The other thing, and again, back to this teacher that inspired me so much, she also invited me to tech aid her class, which means I was a teacher's assistant for a part of that. Luckily, I had gotten all of my necessary credits out of the way in my first 2 years of high school. So I didn't need to take very much for math or English or science because my first 2 years, I did all of that. So my last 2 years, I had the freedom to take 3 hours and go to the skill center. And my senior year, I had the freedom I took two drama classes that year. Um, so I took theater, and I had an art class, and I had a tech aid in art class. And I didn't have a lot of hard school work. So not that I was lazy, I didn't have like senioritis or anything, but I just got all the hard work out of the way first. So then my last 2 years, I had a lot of fun, and I had the freedom to do that. So the teacher, the inspiring teacher, brought me back, and I got to sit in on her class and help other students for an hour a day. It was my favorite part of the day. And then she then started teaching more advanced art classes eventually, and I took her class. So I not only went back to the teacher I didn't like and learned how to adapt and take his class, but then I got to take the class with the teacher I did like. So overall, my art experience in high school went all over the place. Uh, but what I wanted to get at was this teacher that inspired me, and she inspired me from the start. She also took me under her wing and lifted me up and gave me a hand when I needed it. And I know teachers like that. I am friends with a lot of good teachers like that. And anybody that's ever had a hard time with a teacher in school knows they can crush you. They can hurt your feelings. They may not mean to. It's a hard, sometimes thankless job. I know that. But a really great teacher can make a difference in every single life they touch. And a burned out teacher can do the opposite. And that's where I think I was at. That's where I felt anyway. The teacher that I had trouble with, I had heard that he was an amazing teacher and inspiring. In fact, he was the mentor teacher to my favorite art teacher. So she was shocked to hear that we weren't gelling, and I, that I felt that he was at least not the kind of teacher that I needed. I'm trying so hard to be nice. So I think that translates to a lot of things. The right kind of pressure or the right kind of influence can help somebody immensely, and the wrong kind can push somebody away. But here's the other part of my story that I wanted to get to, because something pushed me. Something pushed me out of art class. And sure, that ended up being great for me in art. but it also led me to other things that I never would have heard of or saw coming too. So when I'm in the graphic arts class my sophomore year, I mentioned it went well. And I'm not just bragging, but I'm saying that because I got into a summer program from that graphic arts class. And this was a summer program that there was very few spots open. I got a scholarship to it. I was um, invited to go to Michigan Tech and spend a couple weeks up there at the college, taking some classes in graphic arts up there. We got to live in dorm rooms for a couple weeks, and we got the whole college experience. Uh, and it it was one of those times that like it was experience of a lifetime, and it changed a lot for me. I feel like I repeat myself. This is why I'm not a storyteller. I just make pictures because I keep saying it changed my life, but it did. And a lot of moments in your life change your life. It changed my world completely because I went up there and I got to be around other people from all over the state that were just like me or similar to me, and I thought I was alone. I thought I was that one weird kid from school, um, and I found out that everybody's weird. I Everybody thought they were the only one. Everybody thought they were isolated, and we all went up there and we made friends with people that we would never have met. And I came back with a renewed confidence in myself, a renewed belief that no matter what came my way, I could take it on. So my summer internship at Michigan Tech in graphic arts was the one of the best things I've ever done. And I'll say too that it changed my life in a lot of ways. Um, Besides the art side and the confidence side, because had I not gone up there, I would never met one of my dearest friends. Um, and if you're watching, Patty, I miss you. We're vaccinated and we'll be visiting as soon as we can. Um, but I met a very good friend up there who we connected with very closely. We became pen pals this is long before internet and Facebook and stuff. So I mean, we wrote each other snail mail letters, and we became very close friends, and we've stayed friends for all these years. And had I not quit art class, I never would have met my dearest friend. We, I could do a whole other episode on what on our friendship and our connection and how great it is to have people who know you and understand you and have been there for most of your life and your ups and downs. But that might be another episode for another day. Um, so I'm the things that push you one way, even if they seem like they're the worst thing. I don't want to be that guy that's like everything happens for a reason, but sometimes things happen for a reason, and sometimes you just don't see it until you're through it. You don't see the end of the forest until you're through the forest. Um, I'm going to show a video real quick because I did want to. I mean, I want to share some art because this is called Ken's Comics, and this is a conversation with me. I'm Ken, but see, uh, what I wanted to share today was this story about a really hard time that I had, and I almost stopped doing any of this. If I hadn't quit art class, I wouldn't be doing art videos right now. I wouldn't be making comics right now. I've been publishing comics for 14 years. I wouldn't be doing any of that because I was going to quit and I was going to find something else to do. And without the encouragement that I got, I don't know if I would have ever come back. So it changed my life for the better. So I may owe the teacher that I didn't like very much a big thanks because, well, the reasons I said it takes perspective to look back and know sometimes how important something was. It may have seemed, like I said, it seemed like the worst thing in the world to me, and it seemed like making me quit art was a, was a was a sad thing. And I mostly, like I said, I suffered it alone because I didn't go to my teachers. I didn't go to a counselor. I didn't talk to anybody at the school to say, what can I do about this? Because I just didn't think there was a way out. This one teacher was the only teacher that taught advanced art, and I didn't want to take his class. Period. I don't care what it was, even if I could get all A's. I didn't want to put myself through that. It wasn't until I got some distance away and came back a different person that I was able to tackle his class. And I am very proud of the grades I got in that class. I think I'm even more proud of the way I figured out how how to handle different types of situations. Um, Regardless, let's look at a video just because. The thing when I click, it doesn't click. So, pardon my technical difficulty. I like the way that graphic looked like it's in my head. Um, yeah, I didn't talk about art much today because I had another story to tell. Please, though, if you have the inclination, follow me on Facebook. I have a Kickstarter starting May 30th for the new Angel's Blood series. I'm looking forward to promoting that. I apologize in advance because I'm going to blast the entire internet with it every single day because this project is a big deal for me. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for continuing. Next time, I promise I'll do some live drawing and we'll do something more fun than just listen to me talk, okay? Take care. Be nice.